everyone, Pot Sam. Welcome to another how-to video. Before we get going today, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications, get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there. So a while back, it's going to be a couple of years now, I did a video on decanting the Tamiya spray paints. It's a few years old now. I think it needs a bit of a revive/refresh. So I'm going to run through the basic pointers again. I have changed the way I do it a little bit. And I changed the way I thin it. Add a little bit more thinner this time as well. And I'm going to show spraying it, which I don't think I did in the last video. So it's going to be a little bit longer, not too long hopefully. I'm going to run through the very basics of decanting them. Now, why use the spray paints over bottle paints? Well, gets asked quite a lot. Tamiya lacquer paints in the mini pots are pretty new. They're phenomenal paints, absolutely fantastic. By far one of my favourite paints, probably my favourite paint, full stop. They are so versatile, easy to use, really easy to clean out the airbrush, just really simple paints to use and faultless. I really can't fault them all. They don't smell as bad. Mr. Colour, Mr. Hobby paints to me are really noxious. The Mr. Hobby leveling thinner is very good, but again, it really does stink compared to the Tamiya lacquer thinner of retarder. So win-win all round. It's a good colour range. They're going to add to it slowly over the years as we go. But as a basic colour range, it's pretty decent to begin with. So the LP paints in the mini pot, fantastic. So why use the rattle cans? Well, like I say, they weren't out for long. These have been out for years. Great colour choice, really good. There's over 100 different colours, and I've got most of them. I've got a drawer full of these things. Whether you're spraying them at the can or decanting and airbrushing, fantastic paints. Near enough the same kind of properties as the LPs. I think they are slightly different paints. People seem convinced they are the same. I don't think they are. I think the LPs are slightly different to the spray cans. Different colours as well. Some are crossed over, but to me there are variances in the shades. There's colours in LP and colours in the TS sprays that you can't get across the range. So again, good reason to have more paints. You've got more colour choice, whether it be for a specific orange or green or whatever. It's there to have, and it's handy to have. The other reason is the Tamiya primers. Now, I've used the primers on and off through the years. I will admit I'm using them more now than I ever have because we stock them at UMP and I have a ready supply of them. Getting these cheaply and reliably is a bit of a pain, and it tends to be a local hobby shop thing is the best bet, which is really the kind of primer. It's a bit of a pain just to go into a shop, but hey ho, it's one of those. So yeah, I am using them more and more. I've got a good range up there. You probably see them, might be behind the ISM logo. I'll take it down if it is. The pinks we can't get in the UK, which is a real shame. It's not officially imported, but they do a brilliant white, absolutely lovely white primer, and a grey one as well. Now, why use lacquer over UMP? UMP primer is phenomenal. The Badger Steiner res that we rebottle, well, relabel, is great primer. It self-levels, it's got fantastic filling properties. It's very forgiving as well. If you put it on a little bit too thick, it'll self-level and dry, and it's fantastic. So why use the spray can? Well, this is lacquer. Our other primer, UMP, is water-based. So lacquer's got a little bit more bite to it, which I don't tend to really have any noticeable difference. So if I build cars, I'm trying to build everything at the minute, but I mainly build cars, bikes, and I'm building armour at the minute as well. And even masking things, I have no issues with paint peel or paint pull or sanding issues, none, because I surface prep really well. With lacquer, it does bite into the plastic a lot more, and it's good to use on resin and metal as well. 9 times out of 10, if I pick using one of these, it's for purely speed. Now I've got a rule, and a few of the guys will laugh, or know this, especially Al. If I'm not sure on something, I'll leave it 24 hours. If I know it's okay, I'll leave it 12. So if I prime anything, I wait at least 12 hours. Overnight is my standard answer for how long should I wait till I paint after priming, decal after clearing, clear after decaling. That's it. If you're unsure, leave it 24 hours. If you've done it before, do it 12. That is my standard rule for everything. And going by that, I don't mess up decals or paint jobs. Everything works well. It's a system I stick with. Now, like yesterday, and what we're going to paint here, I was going to paint my tracks, prime them in black, along with the rest of my Challenger, which you'll see in another build video. And I thought, you know what, I've not tried this colour yet, let's do this. I primed all the Challenger, put it to one side, got distracted by the family, came back in later and I thought I haven't painted the damn tracks. And I wanted to paint the tank, so I thought, right, okay, perfect time. This dries, I will paint over this quite happily in an hour with another lacquer paint over in an hour, no issue at all. So it's speed. That is the main reason I use the spray cans over other paints and other primers. It's purely speed. If I need something to dry quick, if I've forgotten a part or I know I want to progress quickly, I'll prime it in the lacquer primer and do that. I don't really find any additional properties on metal and resin compared to standard res, aka UMP primer. I don't notice at all, it's just me. But there we go. So several reasons for using them. I will admit I am using these a lot more. The test sprays I've had for years, but the primers I've used on and off. I've had a can here or there and use it, as I just said, when I need to. But I've been dying to try this colour, and the tracks on the Challenger. Now, while they're not going to be that colour, they need a primer anyway. It's good to see a colour going down on a different colour primer, and that's why we've done it. So I'm going to show decanting this, thinning it, and spraying it. Hopefully cover a bit more than we did in the last video. I know I've waffled on a bit. It's just explanations as to why I do certain things. And even sometimes I'll think, do you know what? I'll prime this and this just for a change. It's just the way I work. I know they both work, so I'll pick and choose between products. It sounds weird. It is a little bit, but hey, one of those. Right, let's jump in and let's get started. Right, so what do we need to decant this primer? We need a medicine cup. We need thinner. We're going to use Tamiya lacquer thinner with retarder. We've got a drinking straw, some scissors, and a glove. We've got 25mm medicine pot. These are the medical grade ones. They can handle lacquer paints. They don't melt. The cheaper ones you buy from pound shops, dollar stores, etc. You put lacquer paint in, you stand a good chance of coming back later and finding it all melted over your bench. So shake the can like hell for at least a minute. You want to get it all nicely mixed up. We get our straw, we extend it. This is one of the bendable ones, which is what you need. We extend it. We're going to cut it about equal through the each side, like so. And then on one end, because these don't quite fit, we're going to put a little snip in the top. Now, I've been decanting these for a long time like this, no issues at all. We've got the medicine cup on the lid of the spray can to raise it up a touch. And a little slit in the straw allows us to fit it over. We don't need any blue tack or white tack. We're just going to push it gently against the nozzle while we press down with our index finger on our right hand. Put the straw to the edge of the medicine cup and it will reduce the spillage. You are going to get a few splashes of paint, so do wear gloves. Lacquer paint on fingers and what have you, not the best idea. And make sure anything you're decanting it over is covered as well. We've got some fresh kitchen paper down. We're just going to decant probably about 20 to 25mm of the paint. Now, this needs to be left for at least, in my opinion, 6 hours to completely off gas. Because you've got propellant in there, you're going to get bubbles of gas coming up from the bottom. Now, in past experience, if you use this straight away, you're going to get problems on the painted surface, you're going to get reactions, and it really doesn't work well. So you need to let it off gas. You'll see it bubbling away for at least 6 hours, or until you can stare at it without getting bubbles. Now, if we get 25mm out of this now, when we come back later, we'll have about 20. Because it's full of propellant and it is off gassing, and some of it does evaporate away, we will come back to slightly less paint, and it will thicken up a touch as well. So there we go. Put our straw to one side, can out the way. We're going to grab a cocktail stick. Now, very, very gently put the cocktail stick in. I've found, and other people told me this, it's a tip I picked up from elsewhere, the cocktail stick does help the paint off gas a little bit quicker, and it's a handy little tool to have in there to stir as well. So gently put it in, check it fits in and doesn't froth up everywhere. And once you're happy it does, cut it so it's not overhanging the top too much, and let it sit in there. You will see small bubbles. Some paints react more than others, and some don't react at all. This isn't really reacting much at all. and cover it to either put some cling film over the top, or what we're going to do is use another medicine cup and just rest it over the top. Now, you need to keep it open. Don't put it in the jar and put the lid on. It will explode while it off-gasses. So you want something on top that it can lift itself or isn't airtight. Cling film with a hole in, or a tub on top will work fine. Just do not seal it at all. And don't put it into thin bottles as well. Otherwise you will find issues of it frothing up all over the top. It doesn't like being moved or shaken at this point in time. So we've left this now for 6 hours. We've come back, we've stirred it, double check we get no bubbles. You can see the paint has settled on the bottom as well. So it will need a very, very good stir. So I reckon in there now we've got about 18 mil of paint. You can thin it with Mr. Colour Leveling Thinner or the Tamiya lacquer with retarder. We're going to use the Tamiya because I think it doesn't smell as bad. Now we're going to add approximately 5 mil of thinner. There we go. You don't have to be exact. It's very, very forgiving in there. It really, really is. So it's probably 4 or 5 mil. So we're roughly 20%. There was about 20 mil of paint in there. So 10% of that would be 2, 4%, 20% would be 4. So that is absolutely perfect. As you can see, we've got a previously decanted and off-gassed bottle there, so you do need receptacles to put them in. It will last a little while out of the in the air. Just thin a little bit more of it out for a while, but try and put it in a sealed container once it's completely off-gassed, because it will last longer. So we throw our apex at 0.35. We're at 18 psi. We've done our test spray, as you can see, and we have some tracks off our Ryefield Challenger. We're going to prime it in this. Now, in my experience, the lacquer based sprays do like to go on a little bit thicker, especially the TS. If you put them on dry, they tend to dust up and dry a little bit rough, so it does like wetter coats. So what we're going to do is going to give it a fine mist over to begin with, and then come back in and build it up heavier as we go. They are very, very forgiving. They really, really are. I say we're at 18 psi, 0.35 needle. As you can see, we're just going to put a light coat on to begin with, but you can go heavy if you wish. It really doesn't seem to make any difference with these paints. They are very, very forgiving. Fantastic colour, as you can see. It's going to be great for German armour or anything else. You want a nice base red coat underneath. And spraying tracks, I've mounted them before on bits of foam board or wood with sellotape or masking tape. And to me, this is probably the easiest way of doing it. Just need to hold it as you spray it so the airbrush spray doesn't blast it across the work surface, but this seems to work well. So we'll give each one a pass, then we'll turn it around, give it another pass, get the other side of the guide horns, and then we'll probably apply 3 coats in total. Now on tracks, you need to make sure you get all those angles because there's edges, you've got the guide horns, you've got the centres of the tracks. So just go around and make sure everything's finished before you're happy. This is our second coat now, just coming through. Still on our first cup of colour. It does go a long way. Like I say, it is very, very, very forgiving and does dry very, very fast as well, which is one of the main reasons why I use it. Very fast drying. So there's one side, and we're going to do the track pads now. So again, just light mist coat all the way over. Not trying to get full coverage in one spray. They're not the easiest things in the world to paint. You can see how wet this is going on in places. There we go, a little bit more paint required. So it does go a long way. I think because the coverage is so good, you use a little bit less paint. Now, thinning it. You can thin it more if you wish, you can thin it less if you wish. You don't need to thin it at all if you don't want to. I like adding the thinner for its properties, rather than actually needing to thin the paint. I like the retarder qualities. I find it dries a little bit smoother, not necessarily with the primer, but more the gloss coats and that. If you're using them for a base colour of a car or bike, the retarder does help the paint dry a little bit smoother by slowing down the drying process and letting it self-level out. There we go. This is our third coat. As you can see, we've just gone over it with our second coat before. It's had a quick go over now with our third and last coat. Make sure we get the ends. The beauty of this drying so quick is you can handle it really fast as well. So there we go. Making sure we're all covered. Yeah, fantastic colours. You see, we're empty now. So that's 3 coats on the tracks. They look great. We've got some just generic lacquer thinner now. In a pinch, you can use the Tamiya thinner or Mr. Hobby leveling thinner if you need to. Obviously, using a generic thinner is a lot cheaper. So we literally fill the colour cup. We're going to backflow it using a piece of tissue. We're going to grab our brush. Have a quick brush around inside. What we'll do is we'll tip this away. Then we'll do exactly the same again. Spray it through. And then if required, we'll do it a third time. Give the outside of the exterior of the airbrush a wipe over as well. Then dry your brush. Backflow it. Tip it away. With lacquer thinner, you don't really need to tip it away as much because the lacquer paints are a lot thinner. With a lacquer thinner, you can empty it. We've got my cleaning station there. We've emptied the airbrush. We just give the exterior a wipe first. A quick look inside. Wipe all down the front. As you can see, it's very nearly clean. We've got a few remnants around the colour cup. Get our tissue in there. Give it a wipe around. So we're about 95% clean there. A little bit of paint still on the needle. So we give it another backflow and brush. And that will be the airbrush all cleaned up. And there we go. Spotlessly clean. We'll give it one final backflow. Blast this away. And that is it. As simple as that. Nice, quick, clean, and easy. There you go then. That's it. As simple as that. The straws are becoming a bit of an issue to find. They have gone up in price. There's other ways of doing it. You can use the top off a WD-40 can, and use the nozzle, flip up nozzle. You've got to clean it then. It's a bit of a nightmare. You're going to get contamination of paint, and I don't want to do things like that. So Amazon has a ready supply of the straws and what have you. As long as you dispose of them sensibly, hopefully you're not going to have a major impact on wildlife. It's not the best thing in the world to use. But you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I know a lot of people like to pierce the cans, tip them upside down and pierce them to get all the gas out. I've never done that, and I don't think I ever would. I'm quite happy decanting them this way. 100 pack of straws will last me absolutely ages, and that's the way I work. So yeah, it's the way it is. Yeah, I don't know if paper straws would work. We'd have to try it. We'll get a bit of contamination in there. I don't know. They are going to go soggy, but they're only one use anyway. So that's it. So I hope you found that useful. Hope it's had a little bit more information than last time and explain the reasons why I pick and choose to use different paints and so on and so forth. Lacquer paints, actual colour paints are the way to go in my opinion. I have a handful of water-based paints now. Literally, I'm looking around to see what I've got. I've got 2 bottles of Vallejo Model Colour and Model Air, one of each of those. I've got some AK Tool Colours. I've got my German Cam Black Brown and some Citadels. I've got about 6 paints. In this whole range of paints I've got, most of it is lacquer. Literally 95% of it is lacquer. They're fantastic. They go down well. The only thing I will say about the primer, I didn't say this before, it's not as forgiving as UMP primer, aka Stannel, is because it doesn't have the self-leveling fill properties of our primer. So if you've got a less than perfect finish, UMP is the way to go. If you're after speed, personally, for me, it's the lacquer. It's a rock and a hard place. It's one of those. Pick and choose your weapon. Pick and choose your tool that you need to use it for, and stick with it and go with it. That's it. Both good to have in the arsenal, and both work fantastically well. So like I said, I hope you found that useful. If you've got any comments or questions, pop them down below. Any different tips or tricks you want to give me, again, post them in the comments down below. I do read them all, and try and reply to them on time. It might take me a while sometimes, but I do reply to all the comments. Bit of a waffle there, I do apologise, but a bit of information to give out, and I hope somebody finds it useful. and if one or two people get a bit of use out of it, then so is me. All is good. We do stock the primers. We don't stock the test sprays yet. We may at some point. There's a lot of them. It's a big outlay to get them all, but we've got the red oxide, the grey and the white in the Tamiya spray primers, and give them a go. They are good. They're much better decanted. You get much more paint for your money. So cost, I didn't include cost, forgot about that, I'm sorry. A tub of, a mini pot of Tamiya paint LP, depending on where you get it from, is going to cost you £2.50 to £3, depending on the colour. For that you get 10mm, you probably get a thin that to maybe 25-30mm at the most. So £2.50, £3, I get you 30mm. These are between £7 and £8, depending on the colours you get. You get about 80mm of paint, thin that 20%. So it works out about the same. But don't think of it cost-wise, think of colours. That's the way I do. It's more colours to add. So there we go, sorry about all the waffle. Check out Test the Scale Model Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com, where you can buy these wonderful Tamiya lacquer primers from. Check out my Paul I Sent page as well on Facebook, where all my personal modelling work is shared. The Off Air Hangout group, where our Off Air Hangouts are read every day. We're using Zoom now, it's working flawlessly, absolutely brilliant. And for the live show, working absolutely fantastic as well. I'll catch you all next time, take care, bye bye everyone.